Hey everyone, welcome back with Bino Mac. Thanks for helping me get this channel to 2,000 subscribers. I am ever so grateful. I didn't imagine this day would actually come, let alone 1,000 subscribers. I didn't celebrate them last time since I was on the grind for content and was still trying to figure out why the hell people watched me in the first place at that time. Well, now I have an idea of what y'all want, so I'll share some more tidbits and facts about the AKI series that hopefully you'll find interesting. If you knew these already, please share down below, as well as any more interesting facts about the AKI series I may not have covered yet. Like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's get into it. So today we're going to start at the beginning. In World Tour, the moves and attires of WCW talent are mostly accurate due to AKI having the World Championship Wrestling license at the time. Everyone except Scott Hall, who has a finisher that starts off promising, but instead of the Outsider's Edge, we have a generic cross sit-out powerbomb. I have a theory for this. See, Virtual Pro Wrestling 64 and World Tour were developed at the same time. Virtual Pro is essentially an upgraded version of World Tour. However, unlike World Tour, AKI didn't have a license for that game and featured fictionalized versions of the wrestlers with different outfits and moves. For example, the Diamond Cutter is simply an extra move in DDP's moveset rather than his actual finisher. Scott Hall though has a very accurate looking Outsider's Edge, complete with his trademark taunt. This likely was meant for World Tour instead. Virtual Pro 64 probably was supposed to have the off-brand version we see in World Tour. I don't know how that happens exactly, but like I said, it's just a theory of mine. Maybe this was somewhat intentional. Speaking of Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, you may be amazed to find out that it has the largest roster of any AKI title in the N64 series. Here are the total counts. World Tour has 43 wrestlers. Virtual Pro Wrestling 64 has 94 wrestlers on the selection screen by default. You can access 5 more wrestlers hidden behind certain wrestlers by pressing Z. Revenge has a total of 63. (2000) has 57 wrestlers, while VPW2 is the second closest with 98 unique wrestlers, being just one behind its predecessor. And finally, WWF No Mercy has a total of 74 unique wrestlers with 92 different models. I didn't count wrestlers as alternative attires in VPW64, meaning there are a few more technically on the roster, but I don't see these wrestlers as the same type that No Mercy has since they are just outfit swaps. Moving on to Revenge, I decided to share the backstories we got from the official strategy guide by Prima Games for all the fictional characters based off of Japanese talent. It seemed a lot of people didn't know about these, so I'll share them here as well as to spread the wealth. Starting off, we have Aki/THQ Man. Aki Man is a strange creature indeed, donning a full bodysuit and a serious overbite. His main strategies include pummeling the opposition with high-flying attacks and trying to win by submission. Shogun, a direct descendant of the Emperor of the Rising Sun. Shogun is a master of the delicate beauty of ceremony and tradition when treating his opponents to his perfected and exacting methods of savagery. All expression hidden behind his black mask, this Japanese giant is both terrifying and magnificent. Executioner, terrorizing his opponents with his savage fighting style. This hooded hellhound lives up to his name with his crypt of murderous moves. The Executioner's enemies are all too familiar with the bloodthirsty maneuvers of this angel of death. Dr. Frank, a true freak of nature, Dr. Frank is more monster than man. The scars and bullets he wears attest to the unethical and often unsuccessful attempts to bring to life the perfect contender. Left only with his uncontrolled rage for the scientists who created and then abandoned him, the Doctor is ready to do some operating of his own. Jekyll is famous for his mood swings in and out of the ring. This wrestler's greatest strength is his ability to go from pussycat to rabid barbarian with no waiting and no warning. Surprisingly agile for a man of his dimensions, Jekyll delivers his bad news swiftly and thoroughly. Maya Inca Boy. This half-man, half-boy emerged from a secluded Mayan village in the highlands of northern Guatemala. Having conquered every tribal adversary he opposed. Each of the traditional tattoos that cover Maya Inca Boy symbolizes a vicious victory in which the defeated suffered a painful and humiliating overthrow. Hawk Hana. Hawk Hana was born and raised to be a sumo wrestler. He was shunned by the sumo wrestling world when, at a sold-out event in Tokyo, he took a chair from the crowd and beat his opponent senseless with it. Every man should fear bumping bellies with this Japanese bad boy. Kim Chi. A seasoned veteran of several hundred pit fights, Kim Chi is without a doubt Korea's most dangerous export. The mysterious, hidden arenas of Kim Chi's native lands were not only his own personal stomping grounds, but also Kim Chi's only home. He was abandoned as a child by his parents. Good old Dake Ken. A former personal fitness trainer to the wealthy and elite women of Hollywood, Dake Ken honed his fighting skills fending off attacks from jealous husbands and angry boyfriends. Always a crowd pleaser, this handsome wrestler is often showered with victory roses from his many adoring female fans. Ming Chi. Separated at birth from his twin brother Kim Chi and abandoned by his parents soon after, Ming Chi survived his desperate childhood in a Korean orphanage by exercising his natural fighting abilities. Still searching for his long-lost brother, Ming Chi often moves his matches into the crowd, hoping for a glimpse of his missing twin. Brikowski. A former exotic dancer, Brikowski delivers the good with style. It's rumored his prominent tattoos are representative of his passion for blackjack and his hard-hearted fighting style. Gentle and salacious out of the ring, this wrestler becomes a frenzied madman when he enters the squared circle. Hanzo Man. Hanzo Man is a mysterious ninja, is thoroughly trained in the customs and practices of the Dark Warriors. His uncompromising mental disciplines are exemplified in his traditional warrior combat strategies. Silent and proud, this menacing fighter is a relentless and unforgiving opponent. In Revenge, there are also a few unique top rope moves that don't seem to return in later games, such as the stalling superplex and cross powerbomb, used by Scott Hall and Eddie Guerrero. Before we move on from Revenge, I feel this is worth noting. you can steal finishers and revenge, including the Diamond Cutter. However, you won't do DDP's smooth, professional Diamond Cutter, but instead a sloppy looking face buster. Even when you steal this move with DDP himself, this happens. This animation was the original animation for the Diamond Cutter in World Tour and Virtual Pro Wrestling 64, so either this is a leftover placeholder they forgot to update, or a clever Easter egg since they had the animation left over. Either way, it's pretty cool. Comment down below if you notice any other finishers like this. Next is WrestleMania 2000. I've mentioned these before on the channel, however, I feel these bear repeating. Sanderskeel, a former producer at THQ, has stated that WrestleMania 2000 was originally not supposed to include Create a Wrestler, but did so because AKI requested more time to implement the mode. It's pretty well done for their first time, but an interesting detail in 2000 is that you can use extremely powerful moves as weak grapples. Examples include choke slams, belly-to-belly suplexes, and other signature attacks that should be reserved for strong grapples only. This is properly implemented in future titles such as Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 and No Mercy, making WrestleMania 2000 the only game in the series allowing for the chokeslam from hell to be considered a weak grapple move. Perhaps this was done due to the time crunch they were working with. Also, did you know that WrestleMania 2000 has an unused official WWE title design that goes unused? There are 7 official belt designs for Create a Belt. The World, Tag Team, Intercontinental, European, Hardcore, Women's, and the unlockable Smoking Skull belt designs are all here. But you can create 8 titles. The 8th design isn't extra, it was actually going to be the WWF Red Strap Light Heavyweight Championship title that can be unlocked with Game Shark codes. It works perfectly and is really only hidden because the developers didn't want you to choose it. It's likely a decision from the WWE at the time, since the light heavyweight title was not really seen at that time. Before moving on to Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, I have one more hopefully interesting bit of info. In Road to WrestleMania, there are 5 belts to win with the same default champions holding them at the start of the run. However, if you choose the default champions, the belt goes to different unused wrestlers. So, the regular starting WWF champ is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Pick him, then it's The Undertaker. Pick both, however, and the champion will be The Rock. This is how all belts work. So for the tag belts, it starts out as the Hardys. Pick one of them, then the starting champs are the Acolytes. Pick a Hardy and an Acolyte, and the tag champs will be Road Dogg and X-Pac. For the IC title, you have Jeff Jarrett, then Godfather, then Val Venus. European champion order is Mideon, X-Pac, and finally Road Dogg. Finally, the Hardcore title starts off with Al Snow, then Hardcore Holly, and finally, if you choose both of those previous superstars, Droz will be the starting Hardcore champion. Just found those choices interesting. Let me know if you knew all these workarounds as well. For Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, I have 2 more entries. The Poison Mist in this game has 6 color options. There's red, green, purple, blue, white, and gray. What color is sprayed is completely random. Sometimes you'll even spray the same color a few times in a row. Another interesting bit of trivia is that WWE superstar AJ Styles has gone on record to call Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 the best wrestling game ever.
GameCube. Of course, the Nintendo 64 with the best wrestling game ever made. Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. If you don't have it, you don't know wrestling. You're not a game player. Okay.
I knew I liked that guy. I wonder if he knows about Freem's VPW2 mod that includes him as a playable wrestler as well. I do wonder though, if he did play this mod, do you guys think that AJ Styles would play with himself? It's not exactly what I... You know what, let's just move on. This entry won't feature the official release of WWF No Mercy. Instead, the final bit in this video will be about the June E3 demo. If you didn't know, No Mercy had a proof of concept demo that was playable at E3 2000. It was built directly off of Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. Links in a playlist in the description and at the end of the video if you want to see more of this demo. Anyway, you have 6 playable wrestlers that include Taz. You may notice that his tattoos are missing. Perhaps they didn't have enough time to implement them? Well, that's not the case. If you hack the game with GameShark codes, you can edit the wrestlers' models. Here you can find that Taz's tattoos do exist. They just weren't put on the model for whatever reason. It's worth noting that The Rock has his iconic Brahma Bull tattoo. However, this isn't a separate texture. It's directly tied to The Rock's body model. Well, that's about all I was able to find for this celebration video today. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Check out my AKI Secrets playlist if you want more secrets about these games in the description below. I will cover facts and trivia about No Mercy in a separate video later on, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and thank you ever so much for the 2,000 subs once again. I appreciate every one of you. I hope to see more of you join me over the years, and remember, above all else, please, remember to have a nice day.